You see it the moment you walk into your backyard. Something large. Something with legs. Something with wings that seem too big for its body, hovering near the fence line, drifting through the humid air with that slow, deliberate flight pattern that immediately makes your skin crawl. It's bigger than any mosquito you've ever seen. Much bigger. And your brain, in a fraction of a second, does exactly what it was trained to do. It fires an alarm. Giant mosquito. Dangerous. Kill it. Now. So you slap at it, spray it, swat it off the wall, crush it under a shoe without a second thought, because everything you have ever been told about mosquitoes tells you this creature is a threat. Mosquitoes spread disease. Mosquitoes bite. Mosquitoes are the single deadliest animal genus on the planet, responsible for more human deaths per year than sharks, snakes, lions, and crocodiles combined. So a mosquito that is 3, 4, 5 times the normal size? That must be 3, 4, 5 times more dangerous. The logic feels airtight. The logic is completely wrong. Because what you just killed, what millions of people kill every single day in backyards, garages, screened porches, and living rooms across the world, is not a mosquito at all. It has never bitten a human being. It does not carry disease. It cannot draw blood even if it wanted to. And it was, at the very moment you ended its life, in the middle of performing one of the most important ecological services that happens in and around your home. And there's more. The real mosquitoes, the ones that actually bite you, that actually land on your arm and drive their needle-like mouthparts through your skin, they are afraid of this creature. Or more precisely, they are hunted by it. Today, we are going to correct one of the most widespread, most costly, and most counterproductive cases of mistaken identity in the natural world. We are going to introduce you to the animal you have been murdering in self-defense that was, all along, defending you. And by the time this video is over, the next time you see something large and winged and long-legged hovering near your door, I promise your instinct will be different. Let's begin. Here is the part that should genuinely bother you. Every summer, in homes across North America, Europe, Asia, and Australia, people wage a seasonal campaign against an animal they have never correctly identified. They buy sprays, they set traps, they seal windows, they slap and swat and stomp, all in the name of mosquito control. And a significant portion of those efforts are directed not at mosquitoes at all, but at the very creature that was doing their mosquito control for them. Think about what that means in practical terms. You see something that looks like a giant mosquito. You kill it. You feel satisfied. Meanwhile, the actual mosquitoes, the small, quiet, stealthy ones you didn't notice, continue feeding. Continue breeding. Continue producing the next generation in the standing water near your fence, in the wet soil under your porch, in the forgotten container at the back of your yard. You eliminated your ally. You left the enemy untouched. And it gets worse. Because the creature you killed was not just harmless to you. In many cases, it was actively feeding on mosquito larvae, consuming the next generation of the insects that would have spent the following weeks landing on your skin. Every single one of these animals you eliminate is a removal of natural pest control from your immediate environment, pest control that costs you nothing, requires no maintenance, and works around the clock. The misidentification of this creature is not a small mistake. It has consequences. Real, measurable ones. And the reason it keeps happening, the reason the myth persists across generations and continents, is that nobody ever stopped to ask the obvious question. What is this thing actually? In this video, we are going to answer that question completely. We are going to identify the animal most people call a giant mosquito, and show you what it actually is, what it actually eats, and what role it actually plays in the ecosystem around your home. We are going to dismantle the fear that drives the instinct to kill it, fact by fact, claim by claim, until nothing is left of it. And then we are going to show you something that most people find genuinely remarkable, the relationship between this creature and the real mosquitoes in your yard, and why protecting one is perhaps the single most effective free mosquito control strategy available to any homeowner. By the end of this video, you will not just know the truth. You will understand why the truth matters for your backyard, your family, and your summer evenings outside. Let's meet the real animal. The creature most people mistake for a giant mosquito has a name almost nobody knows. It's called a crane fly. Scientifically, crane flies belong to the family Topulidae, one of the largest and most diverse families in the entire order of true flies, Diptera. There are over 15,000 described species of crane flies worldwide. They live on every continent except Antarctica. They have been sharing space with human beings since before recorded history. And the overwhelming majority of people who encounter them every year have no idea what they are. At first glance, the confusion is understandable. Crane flies have the same basic body plan as mosquitoes: a slender elongated abdomen, a pair of wings, and legs that seem disproportionately long for the body they support. From a distance, especially in motion, the resemblance is enough to trigger immediate alarm. The brain pattern matches to mosquito, scales it up, and interprets the result as dangerous mosquito. But spend 30 seconds actually looking at a crane fly, and the differences become unmistakable. Start with the body. A mosquito is a compact, dense little machine, built for stealth, precision, and the ability to land on skin and feed without being detected. A crane fly is long, loose, and almost comically ungainly. Its legs dangle below its body as it flies. It bumbles into walls. It hovers in open spaces with none of the directional intent of a feeding mosquito. It has none of the predatory efficiency that defines the insects it superficially resembles. Now look at the mouthparts. A mosquito's mouthpart, the proboscis, is an engineering marvel of biological predation. It is a long, needle-sharp tube capable of piercing skin, locating a capillary, and drawing blood while simultaneously injecting anticoagulant and anesthetic compounds that prevent the host from feeling anything until the mosquito is already gone. It is, in miniature, one of the most sophisticated feeding instruments in the animal kingdom. A crane fly does not have this. Not a version of it, not a smaller one, not a weaker one. Adult crane flies have either no functional mouthparts at all, or, in some species, extremely simple structures capable only of sipping small amounts of water or nectar from flowers. They cannot pierce skin. They cannot draw blood. They have no mechanism for doing so. The biological architecture for biting simply does not exist in the adult crane fly body. This means that the adult crane fly, the large, long-legged, winged creature you've been swatting away from your porch light, cannot bite you. Will not bite you. Has never bitten any human being, anywhere, in the entire evolutionary history of its species. Not because it is choosing restraint. Not because its mouthparts are too weak. But because the apparatus required to bite does not exist. The fear is not just exaggerated. It is directed at the wrong animal. And here's the detail that surprises most people when they hear it for the first time. Many adult crane flies don't eat at all. The adult stage of the crane fly's life cycle is, in many species, devoted entirely to a single biological purpose: reproduction. The adult emerges, finds a mate, reproduces, and dies, often within a matter of days. It does not need to feed to accomplish this. In species where adults do feed, they take in small amounts of plant nectar or water. Nothing more. A creature that cannot bite you, does not want to bite you, and in many cases is not even eating during the brief window of its adult life. That is what you have been killing. Now let's address the disease question directly, because this is where the fear runs deepest. Mosquitoes are genuinely dangerous. This is not an exaggeration, and it is not a myth. The Anopheles mosquito transmits malaria. The Aedes mosquito transmits dengue fever, Zika virus, yellow fever, and chikungunya. The Culex mosquito transmits West Nile virus and various forms of encephalitis. The World Health Organization estimates that mosquito-borne diseases kill between 700,000 and 1 million people every year. Mosquitoes are, by every serious scientific measure, the deadliest animal on Earth in terms of human mortality. That danger is real. It is well documented. And it is associated with specific mosquito species. Crane flies transmit nothing. There is not a single documented case of a crane fly transmitting a pathogen to a human being. Not malaria. Not dengue. Not West Nile. Not any virus, not any parasite, not any disease of any kind. The transmission of disease requires specific biological machinery, the ability to feed on blood, the presence of compatible pathogens within that blood, the mechanisms to inject those pathogens into a new host during feeding. Crane flies possess none of these capabilities. They are not a vector for anything that affects human health, because they do not interact with human blood at all. The crane fly and the disease-transmitting mosquitoes share a superficial visual resemblance, and nothing else of medical relevance. But here's where the crane fly's story becomes even more interesting, because the adult stage is actually the least important part of its life. The real ecological action happens earlier. Underground. In the water. In the wet soil and leaf litter that forms the biological engine of your garden. Crane flies spend the vast majority of their lives in the larval stage. Depending on the species, crane fly larvae, colloquially called leather jackets for the tough, brownish-gray skin that protects them, live for several months to over a year in moist soil, in shallow freshwater, in stream beds, in decomposing leaf matter. During this time, they feed. Not on blood, not on other animals, but on organic matter. Decomposing plant material, roots, algae, the biological debris that accumulates in any healthy, functioning outdoor environment. This larval activity has a direct and measurable effect on the health of soil. Crane fly larvae help break down organic material and return nutrients to the ground. In wetland environments especially, streams, boggy areas, the marshy margins of ponds, they are an important part of the decomposition cycle that keeps freshwater ecosystems productive and clean. They are also, in their larval form, a critical food source for dozens of species of birds, fish, and other insects. Robins, starlings, and thrushes dig through lawns specifically to find crane fly larvae. Trout and other freshwater fish feed on them heavily. Many species of ground-feeding birds time their breeding cycles to coincide with the availability of crane fly larvae as a high-protein food source for their chicks. Remove crane flies from an ecosystem and you don't just lose the crane fly. You begin to affect the birds that rely on them. The fish that feed on their aquatic larvae. The soil health that their decomposition work supports. The crane fly is a link in a chain, and like most links in ecological chains, its value is invisible until it's gone. Now here is the part of this story that most people never hear. The part that changes everything. Let's talk about what happens in the aquatic world, in the streams, the ponds, the slow-moving water near your property, where the real battle against mosquitoes is fought every single night. Mosquitoes breed in standing and slow-moving water. A female mosquito lays her eggs directly on the water's surface, or on vegetation at the water's edge. Those eggs hatch into larvae, small, wriggling, comma-shaped creatures that hang just below the surface of the water, breathing through a tiny siphon tube. These larvae are the next generation of the insects that will, within weeks, be landing on your skin. And in that same water, crane fly larvae are hunting them. This is not a minor or occasional interaction. In healthy freshwater environments, aquatic crane fly larvae are active predators of mosquito larvae. They share the same water column, the same microhabitats, the same zones of vegetation and debris where mosquito larvae congregate. And crane fly larvae, being larger and more robust than mosquito larvae, consume them efficiently and in significant numbers. Every crane fly larva in a pond or stream is eating mosquitoes before those mosquitoes ever get the chance to become adults. Before they develop wings. Before they find you. This is biological mosquito control at its most fundamental level, happening in the water near your home, completely invisible to you, completely free of charge, requiring no human intervention whatsoever. No pesticides, no larvicide treatments, no mechanical traps. Just a natural relationship between predator and prey, running exactly as it evolved to run. And then the adult crane fly emerges from that water. It takes to the air, long-legged and ungainly, drifting toward your porch light in the summer evening. And you see it. And you think, giant mosquito. And you kill it. The animal that spent its larval life eating the creatures that bite you, killed by the person it was protecting. There is a particular irony in this that takes a moment to fully absorb. The thing that frightens you because it looks like a larger version of a dangerous insect is actually a predator of that dangerous insect. Your instinct to protect yourself from it is eliminating the creature that was protecting you from the thing you actually fear. And consider the scale. A single female crane fly can lay hundreds of eggs. Each one of those larvae, in an aquatic environment, may consume dozens of mosquito larvae during its development. The removal of even a small number of adult crane flies from your local environment, because every adult that doesn't reproduce is a generation of larvae that doesn't hatch, has a compounding effect on the local mosquito population over time. When you kill a crane fly, you are not just killing one insect. You are eliminating a future generation of mosquito predators from your immediate ecosystem. The calculation, once you understand it, is the opposite of what the instinct tells you. Killing the crane fly does not protect you from mosquitoes. Killing the crane fly reduces the natural pressure on the mosquito population in your yard. It makes the problem worse. The giant bug near your porch light? That is not a threat. That is an asset. That is a creature whose larval offspring have been, and will continue to be, among the most effective natural controls on mosquito populations available in any freshwater environment. Let it fly. Let it reproduce. Let it do what it evolved to do. Your summer evenings will be better for it. Let's put this together. The giant mosquito you have been killing your entire life is a crane fly. It cannot bite. It does not carry disease. It has no mouthparts capable of piercing skin. Many adult crane flies do not eat at all. Its sole purpose during its brief adult life is to reproduce, and if it succeeds, its larvae will spend months in the soil and water near your home, decomposing organic material, feeding birds and fish, and in aquatic environments, actively consuming the larvae of the mosquitoes that actually do bite you. It is not your enemy. It is one of the most effective free allies your backyard can have. The fear that drives people to kill crane flies is built entirely on a visual mistake. A misidentification so common, so automatic, and so widely shared that it has persisted for generations without ever being seriously questioned. The crane fly looks like a large mosquito. The brain concludes that a large mosquito is a large danger. The hand follows. But now you know the chain of reasoning is broken at its very first step. The animal is not a mosquito. It never was. And every piece of the fear that follows from that initial misidentification is built on a foundation that doesn't exist. You are, right now, part of a small but growing group of people who have been properly introduced to this animal. Who understand what it actually is, what it actually does, and why the instinct to kill it is not just misplaced, it is actively working against the outcomes that instinct was trying to produce. The next time a crane fly drifts through your open door, or hovers near the light above your porch, or bumbles awkwardly into the corner of your garage, stop. Just for a second. Let it be. Walk past it and leave it to do what it does. And if you have children, tell them. Because the habits we build around the natural world start young, and the habit of killing things we don't understand is one of the most consequential ones to break. A child who learns to recognize a crane fly, and to understand what it does, is a child who grows up with a fundamentally different relationship with the living world around them. That's what Backyard Story is about. Not just the facts, but the shift that happens when the facts land correctly. When something you thought you understood turns out to be something entirely different. When fear gives way to curiosity, and curiosity gives way to a kind of quiet respect for the systems operating just outside your window. If this video changed the way you see the big long-legged bug near your porch light, share it. Because someone in your life is swatting crane flies right now, this summer, convinced they're doing the right thing. One share is all it takes to correct a mistake that has been running, unchallenged, for most of their life. Like, subscribe, and join us here at Backyard Story, where the most surprising nature documentary is the one happening in your own backyard. See you in the next one.